In this video, I'm going to tell you the ugly truth about being a realtor. And no, your broker's not going to tell you this, but as someone that's been in the business for over 8 years, I'm going to tell you the truth in this video. Let's dive right into it. My name is Chris with the Empire of Real Estate YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about real estate and entrepreneurship. If you like that kind of content, smash the like button and subscribe. Before we dive into the video, definitely grab our script book. It's called What to Say. So if you're going to prospect for listings or you're going to be calling leads, download this booklet and use it to get more listings. So let's talk about the ugly truth. Real estate agents are in a position where they're given all the responsibilities of a business owner, but they have none of the upside business equity. And that's the reality. The majority of millionaires that make their money do it through asset ownership and the building of equity. So a lot of millionaires, they'll acquire real estate, they'll fix it up, they'll get some equity, they'll flip it, and that's how they make their money on the liquidation of that asset. Another way people become millionaires is by building businesses, just like you're doing with real estate, but they're building a traditional brick and mortar business. They might be building a software company, they might be building a product business. Like for example, this microphone that I'm talking on is a business. And guess what? When this company, Blue, sells their company to somebody else, they're going to have a liquidation event and somebody's probably going to buy their company from them. As a real estate agent, you don't do that. You don't have that option. You're a solopreneur. So that's the reality of it. And a lot of people are not going to tell you that. But I want this channel to be raw and I want it to be real and I want to tell you what real estate really is. And don't get me wrong, it's not all bad. There are a lot of good things about being a real estate agent. It's a great cash flow business and it's a really good way to generate a lot of income, have that flexibility of having your own schedule, and it's a gateway to get into business and entrepreneurship. And then you could take that money, you could start fixing and flipping houses, you can start buying apartment complexes. There's a lot of cool things you can do, but I want to be honest and I want to be real about the 4 real ways you can make wealth as a real estate agent, and then the ugly truth of just staying as a real estate agent and staying in that one box. So the very first option is to become a top producing agent, and this is the top 5% of agents in your market, and then take that capital and then reinvest it into assets, hard assets. Think about things like stocks, think about things like real estate, things that you can hold on to that will pay you reoccurring monthly income and go up in value. So these are old tried and true ways to become wealthy, and a lot of people that are very wealthy just do it by buying a ton of real estate. However, to get this snowball rolling, you're going to need a lot of capital. So to get into this realm, unless you want to do something creative like the Burr method, you're going to want to be a top producing agent. And you're going to want to be an agent that's in the top 5 percentile, making a couple $100,000 per year to take that capital and reinvest it and get that snowball going so you can get to that financial freedom number that you're looking for. Option number 2 is to own a brokerage and scale it to the moon. Now, there are many people that have become very wealthy with real estate brokerages. However, the numbers are few and far between in the modern day of 2024. And now there are people still doing this method and still getting very wealthy. If you can grow a brokerage to thousands of agents, you have economies of scale, and you're probably going to do very well as long as your splits and your finances are set up the right way, because you have such a huge amount of leverage. And to be honest, you probably could sell that kind of company because somebody will acquire it. However, many brokerages that start up, they stay in that 10, 20, 30 agent range. Sometimes they go up to 100, sometimes they go up to 150, and the owner has a lot of liability. They don't have a huge profit margin because to be competitive and to keep your agents on, you have to add a lot of value. You have to offer competitive splits, which keep going down and down and down as time goes on, because brokers are getting more competitive and trying to attract more agents to their brokerage. So it's kind of a race to the bottom. Another big problem with this is unless you have a lot of capital to deploy and scale into multiple states, it's very hard to scale this model because you're limited to your geographic location. You're just limited to your market, and there might be only a couple hundred agents that you're able to sign on, even if you do really well. So to be able to scale, you probably have to get into a franchise model, or you have to go big corporate and then deploy some kind of revenue share model so that your brokerage continues to grow and snowball. Think of things like Real Brokerage or EXP. The founders of those companies ended up being very wealthy. but there's only a very small handful that ended up being successful and gaining that wealth. On top of that, it's very hard to exit. It's very, very difficult to exit these companies. And if you have a small brokerage or a mid-sized brokerage, you oftentimes have to do an earnout. And that earnout is basically just paying you back your salary or your income that you paid yourself, and they don't trade on big multiples. It's not like a software company, or it's not like something else that trades at a life-changing multiple. They typically trade for low multiples because the real asset value comes from the agents that are on board, and they know if you as the broker leaves, there's a chance that things will get shaken up and those agents will leave as well. So exiting the company for a big multiple is very hard unless you go huge. Method number 3, and this is using a hybrid model. Now, you don't have to be a top producing realtor to do this model. You just have to be a realtor that produces enough income to start buying their first properties. And then you can use things like hard money to go and flip houses and then snowball those profits into passive income properties. So a lot of agents, they'll make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year as a real estate agent, start to know the way of the land. They start to really figure out the game. They meet contacts. They start seeing properties that they can get into, and then they'll get a hard money loan, or they'll find a partner from somebody that they met in the business already, and then they start flipping houses. And then they take those big, large profits because, let's be honest, some investors are making $40,000, $50,000 on a flip, some even more. And to be honest, I've seen some people lose a lot of money on flips too. But with that being said, there's a much bigger amount of money being had if you do this the right way. So then you could take that capital and then reinvest it into passive income assets that allow you to build that wealth and get out of the hamster wheel of being a real estate agent and being stuck on that roller coaster of wondering where your next commission is going to come from. Number 4 is to become a part of a brokerage that offers stock, equity, and the ability to grow revenue share. This also gives you the option to scale into multiple states, and it gives you that leverage that you need to be able to stop trading your direct time for money. And on top of that, a lot of agents are selling, they're doing their thing, and they're not getting any equity in their own company that they're working at. So if you pick one of the right companies that are on their way up, it can be an excellent way to get started. For me, I went over to eXp Realty at first. It was great, but we decided to move over to Real Brokerage, and so far we love it. And in my opinion, I think the company is still very young, and we're building up a ton of stock just from my team selling and us selling, and I really love the model. So if you have questions about it, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer them. But there's no right or wrong way here. You know, everything mentioned in this video could work if you execute it on a high enough level. However, I did want to talk about the ugly truth about being a real estate agent, and that's the truth. But you could do multiple approaches here and combine multiple approaches and still find your way to wealth. So now that you have this no BS truth to digest, you need to just take some time and figure out your why and evaluate why you're doing this and move accordingly. Thanks so much for tuning in, and you have an awesome day. Thank you for watching the Empire of Real Estate YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about real estate and entrepreneurship. So if you like that kind of content and you haven't subscribed yet, smash the like button and subscribe. And before we go, there isn't a video over here that we think you'll like, so be sure to check that out as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, and you have a great day.